beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning. Welcome to the Monoway Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison. It's July 23rd. It's a nice, beautiful Wednesday morning, at least where I'm at. I hope it is where you are, too. I got a nice little workout in, run done today. Getting breakfast in, everything, ready to hang out with you guys, enjoying my coffee. I'm already a little bit caffeinated, so I'm ready and raring to go. Have some good topics lined up, and we are definitely keeping this under an hour and a half today, just so you guys know if that matters to you at all. But more or less, I'm just saying that to keep myself true, because I do legit need to be out of here at an hour and a half. Told my kiddo I'd have her somewhere, so that is the time we're going to be done at an hour and a half. There's no later. I'm fucking bailing. I don't care if I got topics. We'll save it for tomorrow. It is what it is. But we have quite a bit to go through today. I see a bunch of y'all in the chat already. Oh, fuck. I feel like a cat just fell somewhere. I don't know if I doubt you got that picked up on the mic. But all right, let's go ahead and let's start off with, start off with the morning video like we normally do, but today is a little bit more unique than that. We should start off with the unfortunate news as soon as I can fucking find it. Whatever, I'll just do it this way. Here we go. Ozzy Osbourne died. For those who aren't aware, Ozzy Osbourne died last night at, what did you say? You gotta be fucking kidding me. I just realized that. There was an 11:11. I didn't realize that. I didn't even notice that. That guy, now I just now picked that up. This guy who shared it to me, the excerpt he used, you said it was at 11:11. Now I need to look into that and find out, did he really, is that the time of death? Are you really telling me that the official time of death of Ozzy Osbourne is 11:11 on 22 July? Was it 11:11, 22/7? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a numerologist or anything, but that's a little bit freaky. I don't know. When do you guys look into that for me? I only knew that he died. I just now picked up that little detail, and it was highlighted. So I think that might even been what the post when he tagged me was getting at, and I just kind of missed that context. So, okay. Weird. I will say, I mean, obviously, we talked about this a little bit on Already Dead last night. Although it says 11, well, I guess it could have been different time zone, because I was going to say we start our show before then, but there are time zones, so... yeah, so I don't know, I guess even then, is it like the time zone he was in was at 11:11? I don't know. I'd be interested in knowing that. But either way, Ozzy's dead. I did obviously make some jokes about kind of, I mean, like, if you were someone who makes money off of Ozzy, I mean, there really is no better time for him to die than right now. He did just finish his farewell tour, had like a big final performance and everything, and the other option from a money-making perspective is they sit on dwindling sales for a while, or they can, while they're already riding one wave, ride another one. So, obviously, I don't know. I'm not saying they killed him, but I don't know. It is like, what insane timing. I swear it was just it felt like a week or two ago that was that final performance they had, right? But yeah, he's dead. I know a lot of people are arguing online about Satanism or this or that, and yeah, whatever, sure. I don't really have strong opinions on Ozzy. I like some of his songs, whatever. You guys can have strong opinions. I'm not one who's going to get weepy about him. I mean, I know he had War Pigs, so it's a good anti-war anthem, although I've heard he's kind of a Zionist, so I don't know, not a lot of love lost for me, but either way, he was a big name in rock, so that is significant. If you're someone who's an appreciator of the genre, he did really contribute a lot to it, so It's something. Ozzy died. I guess he was a legend, no matter how you cut it. But with that, let's go ahead and get into our video. We're going to make fun of Timmy Pool today. I know we brought it up on Already Dead last night, but I don't really feel like I gave it its due. And I don't know. It's a different format when you have all of them there. I really just want to kind of make fun of this myself. So let's go ahead and go through it together, and you guys can make fun of it too. So with me, let's go and watch it. Oops. 1 second, I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. Oh, really? 1 second. I'm sorry, I just realized the audio is already being glitchy. I'm literally not even 10 minutes in the show, and StreamYard's already doing the stupid video glitch. Give me a second, I gotta stop it. I gotta undo it and re-up it again. This is why the nice fancy shows have those things called producers. What the hell? I don't know what is with this glitch. I think last show, I went through the whole show without it giving me any sort of issues, if I recall. And then now, just out of nowhere for no fucking reason. All right, whatever. Let's go ahead and play this. Sorry it did that. I don't know why. I did not expect it to have that glitch this early on in the episode. Let's go ahead and play it again.
So I put it like this. I want to see Crossfire Hurricane investigations, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, former Intel bigwigs who were lying to the American people. I want to see that investigated. Now, the Epstein stuff is interesting, but we don't really know. What we know is he was a bad guy who did bad things, and one of the worst. And he was gallivanting about his private jet and his island with powerful interests. I would like answers on that.
That's we're just downplaying it to that. Oh, we don't really know. We don't really know what this guy was doing. I mean, I know he's been convicted of pedophilia and hobnobbing with every major person in the world, and I don't know, once you really just get a minor grasp on the story, you get to a level of absurdity to where, yes, I get it. I've said many times the story I guess it depends on what the specific claim is. There are a lot of things you kind of can't make objective, real claims about. When I say, I think they're, technically when I'm saying child rape or this or that, actually even that, I can, there is proof of that because he was convicted. But I guess more of the larger conspiratorial, a ring sort of things. Although even then, Ghislaine was busted for trafficking. Although I'm pretty sure to even steelman that, I think the legal argument was she was trafficking to Epstein. Although we just get to a level of absurdity here where it's just I'm already even just as I'm saying this, we just get to a level of absurdity. What are you talking about? This guy I forget the name of the guy. We had him Wyman, I think. Something Iman or some shit. He's a Democratic guy. We covered this story the other day where he was just talking about one account that billions was running through in a short period of time. I forget the specifics on it, but it was insane. And this was just one account. And this guy's a money launderer, so he would have all sorts of accounts. Just by its nature of the job. So, and this is just one account. I mean, we've gone through so many things today. We're going through, or not today, but before, and we're going to go through stuff today that just gets to an unbelievable level of, come on. Something. I mean, we know, obviously you can't say specifics. I can't tell you exactly what happened, but I don't know, it doesn't really take much of a logical jump to go, I think something untoward's happening here.
But I got to be honest. If I'm weighing what I want to see done first, it's going to be day to day. Republicans need to be getting the job done so that we can survive, afford our way of life, that our young people can have houses and have children. That's priority number one.
All right. This is Goyslop bullshit. This is what this is. This is, binary brain nonsense. Do you guys, if we're playing this economics game, this is retarded centrist nonsense. This Trump good, Trump number go up, number good. Number was good and before if we look at 2016 administration, do you remember when number be big, number go up, number go real big. Don't remember last year, no remember that. Number go up right now, remember that, number go up. That's all. like this is the level of economic knowledge this guy has. Number was up. Like, do you remember the last year of the Trump administration? Also, do you remember what he did in the last year of the Trump administration? Do you remember what we've been still dredging through now, economically speaking? We're still feeling the effects of. That was the last year of the Trump administration. I know a lot of people want to say Biden this, Biden that. Don't get me wrong. He did a lot of awful things. But if you just break down it from a money perspective, the amount of money that was printed in, 2019, it was fucking astounding. Like, and he bragged about it, and yet he's doing it fucking again with his big, beautiful bill and slapped you in the fucking face with it. And that's what he started with, and then went on to their Iran thing. And like, so you gotta remember to contextualize this with all of this, and now we're at, and then they dangled the Epstein thing in you, and then spit in your mouth again, once more, and now you have the fucking gall to sit here and go, well, they're gonna get a bomb. We should focus on Obama and Clapper and the Intel guys. They're gonna get them. Like, I mean, I don't think they're going to do either, but it's just the idea of, like, just the lack of spine here, just the absolute, just the funny, the what I freeze, the frame of this, that's a perfect encapsulation. Boom. Like that, like, just Jesus Christ, dude. Like, what the fuck? Have, like, a certain point, like, at what point you're like, dude, I'm just fucking rah-rahing for evil. I'm just rah evil. That's what I'm doing. Like, I mean, this is as transparent. I don't know. It's just, it's astounding. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's child rape. I mean, this is a man. Look at this man. This is a man who recently had a child. And we're talking about a story that at its core surrounds child rape. And this guy still hasn't, had enough of a move in his moral fortitude to go out, you know what, I'm going to have a little bit of something. And even that, and he's in a position where he's positioned himself, he very well could easily make this pivot. That's like the most disgusting thing about this. He's heard there, I'm centrist. It's the easiest pivot in the fucking world. I stand for nothing. Well, then fucking, this is the easiest pivot then. You don't even really have to give a fucking excuse. It's the easiest. I don't like child rape. It's awfully odd how all these elites and highly connected people and politicians that rule above us, I seem to be extremely close in proximity, but what is very clear, some sort of child rape operation going on. You just fucking stupid piece of shit. I don't think I'm getting a call back to go on the show anytime soon, by the way, just so for all those who wonder. Nor do I care. Nor do I give a shit for anyone who wonders. So, but just astounding just to see what he's become.
I'm sorry.
Not that I ever, to be frank, not that I ever thought he was anything amazing to begin with. Just we've gone to levels of ridiculous. Like, Jesus Christ, come on, man.
All right, priority number 2 is going to be Obama and Russiagate. Now, there's going to be a lot of people being like, oh, Tim got the call. That's what they all keep saying about everybody else. They got the call as if there's phone calls going out about Epstein. No.
He may not have needed a call. I mean, I know we make this joke, and I even titled this The Call or whatever, the name of this, one of the subtitles of this episode. But I don't know if he necessarily needed a call. I mean, I don't know. I mean, perhaps. I guess I would be astounded. But it's... I mean, maybe he really is just that... I don't know. He's just that... what, access? You know, it's the whole access... The problem of access journalism. It's just he's fallen into that trap. I mean, that really could be as that simple. I don't know. I mean, this guy has been, since this new administration come in, has had access. He's been able to be in the room with Carolyn Leavitt and ask field questions to the White House staff. Don't you feel so big and special? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's that. I don't know. It's just, I mean, if you're not there asking real questions, what's the point of you there aside for, let's be real. I mean, like, was it the Noam Chomsky thing? It's like I'm not saying you're corrupted. I'm saying, I forget them. Obviously, I'm butchering the quotes, but paraphrase. I'm saying you're here because of your beliefs. So obviously, maybe that doesn't apply as well to like a Tim, but sort of, I guess, kind of, because, man, whatever. Let's keep going. This is wild to me.
On this list, Epstein's number 3. It's high up there. But I'm going to put it like this. How much time and energy do we have? There is an old Japanese proverb. He who tries to catch 2 rabbits will catch neither. Indeed. And so I look at it this way. If we do not have a functioning government and economy, Trump and the Republicans lose the midterms. We lose the midterms, the agenda is cooked, and we get nothing after that. First and foremost, secure the base and the middle of the road this country so that we can try to maintain the House in the midterms, at least to whatever degree.
Okay, so this always comes back to political brinksmanship. Never thinking like, hey, does this? I mean, once again, even literally the picture as Tim is making this thing, the picture here, I guess for the audio people who listen audio, he's got. I'm assuming maybe this is on a show. They're probably talking about the stuff going on with Massey. He literally has the photo of Massey holding up the Epstein Phase 2. So the context here, and I would assume maybe the news, maybe to give him maybe the slightest bit of backing up, maybe the news came later or whatever. But likely at this point in time when he was doing his show, he probably even knew that the House had already shuttled it off, that essentially that vote's not happening. They're taking a recess until basically September, and so that's gone. So they have essentially months now to, well, I think it's about a month or so to essentially find ways to, in the court of public opinion, to shift things as opposed to being essentially strong-armed to doing anything legally. It's like through the legislative branch. That's been shuttled off. This whole Epstein Phase 2 thing, and they've admittedly, I think we even played clips, and I think I'm going to play one here in a bit. It admittedly did it for the Epstein thing. They're saying, oh, this is like a fucking Democrat hoax or some shit. This is a Democrat stunt. It's like, well, just fucking do it. I think initially, because there's been a few different, it's hard to keep track of the different versions or whatever. I think the first one was attached to like some other thing, so there was like a good argument. I think, from my understanding, this one's far less like attached to other things. I mean, I don't know the specifics of it. So they've done a few different iterations, and it's Rokana mainly and Massey, I think. That's some of the two biggest ones here, and they've made a big point to like kind of like the concerns of like this fucking idiot that I'm talking about right now when he said, oh, the first iteration, like they want to release child porn. Well, like, and Massey made a point to like, I forget what he said specifically about it, that he put something about that in there. And then, so essentially, point being is there's not really any sort of, they've kind of buttoned it up tight, from my understanding. So there's not really any sort of real argument. So now they're left with, well, this is just a Democrat stunt for, okay, well, that can be true, but like also then like, okay, then just do it. Like, I mean, I don't know. This is it's like, so all of this while he's literally got, in the background, he's giving this commentary. In the background here is they're literally referring to this thing that's getting shuttled off. They're literally like kind of, I forget the specifics, like the bureaucratic brinksmanship here, but essentially they had to do a lot, and essentially it made a lot of legislative difference what they had to do here. Essentially they made a lot of moves. They expended a lot of political capital, I guess you could say, in order to make this shift, to make this happen, and make this not happen, essentially. And still, despite all this, like they're going in every way they can to, I mean, we've been tracking the squirming, narratively speaking, of the different administration members along with Trump. And all of this is the contextual, is like the context here. And yet, despite all that, you were just that fucking stupid or that fucking corrupt, that willing to spin for a fucking child rape ring, that you're just going to sit here and just, no, I value the getting truth on Obama more. Like, are you that fucking stupid that you think you're going to get anything there? Like I said, I mean, I think it's kind of the idea that, like, as I explained before, like, actually, ironically, if you wanted any sort of justice on Obama, you actually should, or any of that, you actually should keep your eye on the Epstein thing, because it's like unashamedly they're trying to do other shit to distract from it. So just stay on both. And this idea that, like, if anything, you should focus on the Epstein thing, but then, like, maybe also be like, oh yeah, but also that other thing. But as of right now, I don't see anything happening. It's also a situation where it's like, okay, cool, then prosecute. I keep hearing, all I've been hearing is that Trump's been furiously fucking posting on Truth and this and that. So, posting memes about arresting Obama, and it's like, okay, well then do it. Maybe you'll get something on me when you do it, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and finish this.
We can. Otherwise, Trump will be impeached.
Which, good. At this point, I want him impeached, to be frank, completely frank. I don't know why. I struggle. I want him impeached. Like, unless something crazy, like, I at least want the beginnings. If it were up to me, I really think there should be outrage at every fucking level, and there should be everyone calling for him to be impeached, in all seriousness. Dead fucking serious. And like, I mean, sure, maybe he could handle things and be like, okay, just kidding. Here's this, this, make things. But yeah, no, the way he has been handled this is abysmal. And what is at the core of everything here is insane. Like, everyone should be calling. We should be on the brink of white marches. Like, they should be calling for his resignation. And yet they're lapping his balls, telling us, wow, we're going to get Obama. Fucking piece of shit.
After that, we have to make sure that criminal elements that were seeking to steal power and who engaged in a seditious conspiracy against this country, or a treasonous conspiracy, as Tulsi Gabbard stated it, must be brought to justice. Why? Because if they usurp power, Trump's agenda is cooked.
If we are ruled by rapists, child rapists, his agenda, like, who gives a fuck about his agenda at that point? Like, you need to cast the guy off. I mean, like, they should be begging for him to be gone. J.D. Vance, there should be... Really, right now, you know, these, like, sources say stories? What we should be getting right now, ideally, is sources say J.D. Vance really isn't happy. Like, if these people had any fucking spine whatsoever, that's the thing they'd be pushing. They'd be pushing for, like, you know, what's JD? Like, you know, they should be pushing for JD. Obviously, I think JD is a Trojan horse here. Like, I mean, maybe we'll see this play out later. But, I mean, you should be getting rid of this motherfucker. Like, oh my God, holy fucking shit, this is such a bad look. Like, unless, I mean, and once again, I mean, I don't know everything that happened. There's possibilities that perhaps maybe this person was lying, that person's lying. There's a way to understand this thing that way. But then, okay, come out with all the information. You need to be explaining this, that, this. You know, this whole, like, most transparent administration throughout this. Every single turn, they've not really even bothered to try to explain really anything. They've clearly done the sloppiest of jobs, like one of the best examples being like the security tape things, like that minute that was missing that they then later act like, oh, that was just a whatever issue. And like, okay, well then you should have fucking known that. You should have explained that before like ahead of time. Like, this has just been an absolutely abysmally handled at every level. And no, you can't just go, well, heard their Bondi, heard their Bongino, heard their Patel. No, at a certain point, it's Trump. At a certain point, like, this is what I'm saying. You should be getting called for his resignation, for impeachment, for whatever. And then at that point, then he goes, Pam Bondi, Patel, whatever. Then he can throw people under the bus. Like, because you need to get him. He needs to be in hot water to get out of hot water. I mean, he is in hot water now, but all these fucking pussies, all these fucking shills, these useless pieces of shit, just fucking sit here and lap his balls.
Only after you've put on your own oxygen mask can you secure the masks of others. Meaning, the Epstein story isn't going anywhere.
I agree. It's going nowhere.
They may have either they destroyed the evidence already, or it's something that can be worked on in the background. And it doesn't need to be everybody in Congress screaming about releasing his files 24/7.
Everyone's screaming about 24. It just happened. Nothing's gotten resolved. What do you mean?
Is that the reason the corporate press...
And this is like the first, like, I mean, actually it's like the second or third iteration of it, but like they tried to, it literally is just kind of the beginnings of it. So they're acting like this is like something that's had no resolve whatsoever, and this is a very clear, let's move it on. Let's move along from Tim.
And the Democrats are going so gung-ho on pushing this story is that they are attempting to derail Trump, smear him, and malign him so they can try and win in the midterms. If we fall off balance and allow them the attack, then the end result is going to be Trump loses the midterms, the Republicans lose the midterms, Donald Trump...
The other option is you sit here and defend him, and you get to destroy yourselves in the process. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much more we need to cover in the show, where it's, I don't know. Trump looks guilty as sin to me, to be honest. So
Trump is then impeached. His agenda is cooked. Democrats take the seat in 2028. They then flood this country just in time with illegal immigrants, just in time for the 2030 census. They then secure a permanent power base, and we, the people, will never win again.
And what difference is that if you're like, I mean, what have you guys really gotten, honestly? I mean, maybe some vague somethings about deportations. We keep getting these, oh, Trump's this, Trump's that, as we're continually being disappointed over and over and over and over again. So it's like, what are we lofting up here? I mean, I guess vagaries about fucking immigration, to which even then, I don't know, I'm flimsy on, and I feel like most people who I mean, I know that this is thrown around by a lot, like it's a huge issue, and I don't know. Frankly, it seems most seem to be kind of flimsy on it. It's obviously a big issue for the base. But even then, if you're coming from their perspective, I don't know. I see a lot of people kind of murmuring. It doesn't seem like it's that great. So I don't know. What are we doing here? I don't know. Let's roll with the chat. I spent way too long ranting about that. Let's check in with you guys, see what you guys got to say. Good morning, JMS, saying find someone who talks about you like Hunter Biden talked about crack cocaine. Good morning, Boomer Slayer. Good morning, Andrew Jacob, says R.I.P. to Ozzy. JMS is his favorite rock vocalist is Chris Cornell. R.I.P. to both. Good morning, Nevsky. Good morning, Knife Safety. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tucker Delay. Good morning, Deemer Hunted Bear. Good morning, Queen Calnads. Good morning, Mulgara. Says good morning, rest in power to Ozzy Osbourne. What a legend. Good morning, Dumplings, says Comet Mama. I think that one's catching on. I think that's catching on, Dumplings. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Ray. Good morning, King David. Good morning, everybody. Demon Hunter says, what kind of cats do you have? I have 2 Maine Coons and tuxedo. I have Sphinx. I do have a couple with hair, but they're actually technically Sphinx because they're outcrosses. So they're actually like 3/4 Sphinx, but they have hair. So, but I mean, I have a bunch of them. If you follow the show long enough, you'd know I breed the kitty cats. I breed the critters. So if you're in the Florida area, or actually even really anywhere, hit me. You do actually want a Sphinx? Hit me up. I'm willing to deliver. I do clients. I mean, they have to pay for it. I mean, I'm not going to. It's not included. That'd be insane. But I mean, if you pay for it, I'm willing to bring it to you, whatever. Or if you're in the Florida area, just saying, just throwing that out there. That's always an option if any of you guys like naked kitty cats. Good morning, Hustle Bones. Good morning, Northside. Andrew Jacobs says he's a big fan of Ozzy since the 80s. Good morning, Noname. Good morning, everybody. Hustle Bones says 11-11-22-7. Deeply significant occult numerology. Yeah, that sounded like it'd be significant. Don't conjure up Rebel for Truth. Yeah, you'll be here shortly. I almost didn't bring it up. I'm not even gonna lie. The first thought that came to my head is like, man, he's gonna gloat so fucking much. I can't say it. Good morning, Marna Mac. Good morning, everybody. McKnife Safety says Massey looking like king, and Tim looks like he watches other dudes plow his wife. Good morning, aggressively agreeing. There are 38,000 FBI agents hired by the U.S. They can probably investigate 1,000 cases simultaneously. Good morning, Eddie Grimm. Good morning, Gerald Hall. He said he wants to say the N-word and to say, and Tim Pool's a Fed, and I fucking hate him. Good morning, Comet Mama. He's saying at least, I already said good morning, but you're saying at least Tim Dillon brought up Howard Lutnick, leading Alex Jones to immediately deflect and suggest Trump is covering for Lutnick and not himself. Oh, yeah, I thought I had a tab bookmarked or something saved on the Lutnick thing. Maybe we'll have to cover that tomorrow, because, yeah, that is one thing. Tim Dillon, or maybe it was, I can't remember, maybe it was Alex. Actually, I think it might have been Alex Jones who brought it up, because I did see some clip on that yesterday. I think it might have actually been Alex Jones who, or I don't know, one of them brought it up, and they kind of both fed into it. That's a very interesting situation. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. But yeah, that's a wild situation. That the implication is the conspiracy seems to be now, at least in that sphere, I think from Alex Jones or Tim or some conglomeration of the two. I think they agreed that's what they were both told or something, is that Howard Lutnick, that he essentially, that there's blackmail on him, and that somehow. So I don't know if like the spin is like, oh well, Trump's just such a good guy that's like he's just covering for his homie that I guess did awful shit. Like he's just like he's just really just that cool for his homies. I guess he's just such a swell guy. Because then even then they see it like, well, he didn't even really do anything, but like it doesn't mean he did anything awful. And you're like, man, I can't really. I mean, if you're telling me the president is covering for you, and like up to destroying probably his entire presidency, his legacy, and you're like, oh, but it's not really that bad. I mean, it's just like, I don't know, maybe like cheat on his wife one time. I mean, he didn't say this. Obviously, I'm like filling in them as being silly, but like maybe like cheat on his wife sometime, or like I don't know, maybe cheat on his taxes a little bit. Like what? Like you were just supposed to believe he didn't do like unlawful, unawful. Why am I struggling with this? Ungodly, awful things. There you go. I was like mixing up those words. That was weird. So yeah, I don't know. And even then, to even buy that like Trump would be willing to sacrifice himself to that degree over Howard Lutnick. I mean, and even if he was, it's like, well, then what does Howard Lutnick have on Trump? Like, what? Okay, I don't know, not looking good here, really. If it's like everybody's like, well, we all got to cover for Bob, and then Bob's got to cover for John, and then John's going to cover for Tim, and like, you're like, okay, you're just kind of making our point here, aren't you? Good morning, OP Jeff. Good morning, Eddie Tony Chin. Good morning, Hubert. Good morning, Rise to Liberty. Good morning. Yeah, JD Vance took everyone out to dinner. He for sure did. He says King David says, won't lie. First time I ever saw Tim Pool, he looked like a bitch to me. My radar went off, knowing he's a fake person with no real code or morals. Yeah. Did I get all my mornings in? Says I guarantee Phil Bonte is just nodding in agreement throughout his slop. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember the last time I watched that show. Hell, I used to just only watch it when like my friends would go on, and even then there came a point where it's like it's so fucking boring. I can't care that I wouldn't even watch it. And then like they were on, and then like I only went on a few times, and then so like did I only go twice or go 3 times? I don't even remember. And then it became like the only times I really would would go when I was going on, so I guess I could see where their heads are at. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I almost guarantee you that's probably what's happening. Yeah. Does anybody here watch Tim Pool other than Jose? I don't watch it. I just watch the clips that come around and go, holy shit, this is where he's at? That's insane. I mean, I kind of feel bad because I almost feel like he's taking me out of context. But on the other hand, it's like, I'm not watching fucking 2 hours of this. Hell. Oh, hey. There's my kid. Good morning, Desk. He says he grew up in South Korea, probably on a military base. Him and his brothers are super white. His sister is super Asian. They barely speak English. That's why Tim always repeats his backstory, but never... And then he cuts off. But never goes back further than his teenage years in Chicago. Took him years to be able to pronounce sheriff. Oh, please tell me you were saying sheriff. Please tell me there's clips of Tim saying sheriff over and over and over again. That'd be amazing. And he uses common American sayings incorrectly all the time. Nevsky says it is pretty funny how the DNC now wants the Epstein stuff released when they never mentioned it once from 2020 to 2024. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I think it is like a combination of things. I think they just know that they're just like, Trump's not going to do anything. I think it really is just they just know. Like, it's just when you know you have somebody. And I also think maybe to some extent there might be this like idea that they know that there's like going to be people like, well, if they're the establishment take is like, maybe they're finally going to grasp of like the new news cycle thing. And so they can go, oh, play this game of they're going hard, and they know the opposite will go, well, look how hard they're going. It's obviously bullshit. Like they never care. So like, I don't know, maybe they're finally getting hip to that. And so they're overplaying it. But I think they really just know that like, yeah, I mean, especially since it's like Trump had the 2016 to 2020 range, and now we're back into it. You had that one like Obama, like, so point being is like he's had a lot of period like of time where it was in his hands. So, and Epstein, or not Epstein, but Biden's kind of been universally shucked off by the Democratic Party. So they're kind of in a weird, unique situation where they have one of these like specific deep level issues like in Israel or child rape rings or whatever, where they're I think they're almost more willing to kind of throw, maybe not a specific name calling way, but in kind of a vagary, like collective kind of vague elite sort of whatever. Oh yeah, they sort of do evil, corrupt, whatever. And even then you're kind of able to point to this era of like when the evil, corrupt was more just like decrepit and like not really with it and, run down. And so it's like, yeah, well, they were corrupt and just like turning a blind eye is kind of almost, I think, the conception people get. But it's like, but they weren't like really involved in so far as maybe like actually doing it. And even if they were, he's such an unfavorable person at this point. They're like, whatever. Like, you don't even see like, who's fucking arguing about like against Biden, like a diary, like his, was it Ashley Biden diary stuff? Like, who's arguing against it? Like, who gives a shit? Like, what Democratic person is really stumping for Biden at this point? So they're kind of in a weird, unique situation where this specific issue, Trump has probably like 2/3 of it ownership, and then 1/3 of it is owned by a party that they've kind of somewhat successfully kind of shirked off, and they're kind of in like a growing period where they're kind of, I think the Democratic Party is kind of having to redevelop their talent, recycle things, figure out what's going, like what works, what doesn't. So I don't know. They're kind of they're shedding off the old, and their old is very old and like all in the on their like the death's door essentially. So I don't know. I think maybe it's a unique situation where they kind of know that the kind of the equation here is like far more in their favor, like far more in their favor. So like the risk reward is like off the chart for them. That doesn't mean that their elites aren't implicated, but I think they care less than their elites more than ever, and they also know their elites actually are far less actually applicable for a justice in this situation. Like it's not going to happen essentially. Let me see. Even if everything they say is true and 100% of the video they have is just commercial child porn, how is the case closed instead of the highest priority to track down its distributors? Yeah, for sure. Nevsky says, I highly doubt Obama will be arrested, but he will be convicted in the court of public opinion and his legacy will be destroyed. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, at least for me, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I kind of already about maybe it's no, okay. Maybe I'm undercounting the effect that this could have on a lot of people, but I don't know. I don't really feel like an Obama era, oh my God, the Russiagate was nonsense. I don't know. I don't know how mind-blowing that is for really anybody. We've gone through a lot of crazy shit in the past like decade, and then I feel like in a certain way, I think a lot of people kind of already accepted that, but I might be wrong. So maybe, I don't know. It's kind of hard. Well, time will tell. We'll see. Man, a lot of chats today. A lot of y'all in here. Good morning. Robin is a brat. All right. Let me see. Man, you guys are chitty chatting a lot. May have to scroll through a lot of these. Good morning, William Miller. Grim says, I have a Maine Coon that almost got killed by a fox years ago, and that motherfucker has been bringing me dead foxes for years now. That's badass. Maine Coons are cool. That's if I didn't live in Florida, that'd be one of the ones I'd like to have. Too much hair. Let me see. Almost getting to the end of these chats. Got a lot of chats. Good morning, Wayne McCracken. Good morning, John Black. He says, I think it's a good time for John Donald Bowman to speak up and side with the Epstein base. What's the worst thing could happen? Flimsy gallows. That name, John Bowman, that name doesn't ring a bell. Maybe I'm retarded and it'll come back to me later and be like, oh yeah, I should know that. But that name doesn't ring a bell. Let me see. Well, good morning, Xerox. Good morning. All right, let's move on to the next story. Covering we're going to kind of cruise through these. 15 more Palestinians starved to death in Gaza due to U.S.-backed Israeli blockade. Not fun news, obviously. A little bit of warning. I'm going to scroll down. There's a horrific photo. This is a baby who literally starved to death. A 6-week-old who died of starvation. So this is where they're at. 15 more people died yesterday, just of literally starving to death, which that is, like, it's one of those things, like, I don't think people even really can conceptualize how long it takes to die from starving to death, and frankly, how brutal it is. Apparently, they're kind of, the talk is that a lot of these people are just kind of walking zombies here, so it's not looking good. And then, despite all this, we have people like Representative Randy Fine telling Palestinians to starve away as babies, died by malnutrition under Israeli blockade in Gaza. This guy is really particularly evil. He said they should starve away while also claiming the reports of people dying of hunger due to the U.S.-backed Israeli blockade are a lie. Here's a photo of him with Trump giving him his endorsement. I know we've talked about Randy Fine before, and he's just the worst. But once again, he's just crushing so far as politically speaking. Everyone fucking hates him so far as actual real people that don't have brain rotted by evil. This is he said, commenting, he said, let me see if I actually find see if I can find the tweet. Let me see right here. Actually, I figured maybe they linked to the tweet, but he said, right here we go. Let's find it. This right here. Let's find the specific tweet. So he goes, so this is the tweet. You can see the people. It says 15 people have died, including 4 children, from famine and malnutrition in Gaza in the last 24 hours. Hamas-run health ministry says. From ABC News, you can see the photo of these people. With pans out, reaching for food, and then it's Randy Fine saying, "Release the hostages. Until then, starve away. It is all a lie anyway." It amazes me that the media continues to regurgitate Muslim terror propaganda At the same time, we have Randy Fine. He is now in the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He's been moving up in his political career, like I was just mentioning a minute ago. And now he's in the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He was put there, from my understanding, I don't know the specific procedural way that you end up there, but Representative Brian Mast is one of the other individuals in there. I think he had some role in putting him there. He said about this, he said, Randy's a battle-tested conservative and a fierce defender of America's interests. The Foreign Affairs Committee is stronger with him on board. Proud to welcome my fellow Floridian to the fight. That's Brian Mast. It's gross. These people are all in Florida, where I am at. But Brian Mast, for those who aren't aware, he's the one who has his legs blown off or some shit. But he's the one who wore his IDF uniform in Congress. And he's pretty much he's another one who's in some insane quotes about all this stuff, like incredibly over the top, like shit. You'd be like, was this said on like Tower Gang, like as a joke? You're like, no, they were dead serious. Like, that's the kind of shit these people would be saying. Top of all this, we have a U.S. citizen among the Druze people executed by HTS forces in southern Syria. So now we have U.S. citizens on the ground getting murdered over in Syria. So yeah, this is the Druze. He was one of the Druze. So, I mean, not really anything to add to that. I mean, maybe I'm sure. I have a feeling we're going to end up learning a lot more about this conflict as we go on. It's going to get a lot more. I mean, this video apparently was pretty. I didn't watch it. I wouldn't recommend you guys watch it. From my understanding, is essentially it literally is exactly when we say execution. They were literally essentially marched out by their captors. And essentially kind of, I don't know, was put on their knees against the wall or whatever the specifics was, and bam, 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 done. Like it's exactly what you think it is. So that's what's going on there. One of those people in the latest was a Druze. Now I guess with this HTS forces thing, it is kind of, apparently there is some like up in the air. Like I know it says the HTS forces, but there's kind of, to what extent they're taking, taking responsibility for this at the federal level is a little bit up in the air, because I know they've had these issues before and they've kind of played fast and loose with what degree they're like, this is official. The HTS government kind of being like, no, these are offshoots or people or even fakes claiming this stuff in our name or whatever. I'm unaware. I'm not entirely sure of the reality on the ground. I think maybe it'll become more real as it goes on. But at the end of the day, this is an area that's just been destabilized and is continuing to be destabilized. And I have a feeling we're probably going to see more stuff as it goes on contributing to the destabilization of this area, because they have said in official documents and stuff like that, or I don't know if maybe it wasn't official documents, but maybe quotes or what, they've made statements that they prefer Syria as multiple statelets, essentially. So they don't like the idea of a strong consolidated government there. I mean, I'm no big fan of government, but when the option is chaos, that's not great either. I mean, you can civilize or decivilize. Read some Hoppe. They're choosing the decivilization route through violence, and that's because that's what Israel wants. So we also have Trump saying U.S. will bomb Iran's nuclear facilities again if necessary. So on Truth Social Monday night, this is what he had to say. Said, we will do it again. He said, I was looking for the tweet itself. My bad. Crap. I assumed it would link right to the thing. But yeah, he's saying these comments again. He said, if necessary. And so the post came in a response to comments from Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Araghchi had said earlier in the day that Iran's nuclear facilities were severely damaged and destroyed by the U.S. strikes. And then Trump says, of course they are, just like I said, and we will do it again if necessary, as interviewed by Brett Baer. Fake news. CNN should immediately fire their phony reporter and apologize to me and the great pilots who obliterated Iran's nuclear sites, Trump added, referring to a report that said U.S. intelligence assessed the airstrikes didn't destroy Iran's nuclear facilities and only set the program back by a few months. Araghchi said that Iran was still assessing the damage to its nuclear facilities and reaffirmed that Tehran did not seek a nuclear bomb. So yeah, I mean, they're still kind of making that bluster about stuff going on there. So I don't know, keep an eye on it. I wouldn't be surprised. I accidentally put this one on the wrong order. I meant to cover this one earlier. This is the kind of connection to the starvation stuff. Apparently, they're gone to the point where now they're warning their journalists there are dying to the extent where the journalists in the area, the Gaza journalists, that the AFP, which is the foreign was it a French news agency essentially has had to put out warnings and kind of letting know their journalists, and essentially put out a statement on this. And this is it right here. It says, "We've lost journalists in conflicts. We have had wounded and imprisoned in our ranks, but none of us remember seeing a colleague die of hunger," the Union Society of Journalists said in a statement on Monday. Following the union statement, AFP management says it shares the anguish expressed by the SDJ regarding the appalling situation of its staff. It says, "For months, we have been helplessly witnessing the dramatic deterioration of their living conditions. The situation is now untenable despite exemplary courage, professional commitment, and resiliency." So we're getting to the point where the journalists that live there are dropping dead. Last thing on the foreign policy front, I know we talked about talks with Russia, and that's still a thing going on, but now they're downplaying it, which is like I warned you guys before, this probably isn't going anywhere. But we're getting more official, even from the other side. I want to say, if I recall correctly, I think even the Trump administration before kind of gave a kind of tamper expectations, and then now you're hearing it, or maybe it was Zelensky, maybe it was Ukraine. It was either Ukraine or USA, or maybe both. And now we're hearing it from the other side of the aisle as well. So it says right here, the Kremlin spokesman, it says, "Let's be honest, the issue of a Ukrainian settlement is so complicated that even reaching agreements on prisoner exchanges or the return of bodies is already a success." It says, "We have no reason to expect any magical breakthrough. Such outcomes are hardly likely in the current situation." It says the agenda, and then Zelensky says, "The agenda from our side is clear: the return of prisoners of war, the return of children abducted by Russia, and the preparation of a leaders' meeting." So it's not looking good. I don't see we're getting peace there anytime soon. We also have this. Let's watch this ghoul. I guess it's kind of a send off for our foreign policy portion. This is where Tammy Bruce. This is what is her specific role? What is she? Essentially, I believe she's some sort of like ambassador to the Middle East or something. But she's like kind of the person that they answers questions about things in this region. That's like her job. And let's hear what she has to say about the aid stuff, the aid distribution.
Just, is there any sort of internal scrutiny within the administration about the results of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation as an entire project, which, as you've set out, is intended to displace the United Nations process?
Jeff, I never said that this was to displace a process. I can't speak to.
But you've been saying that under the previous system.
Well, yes,
Hamas
it's true. I mean, we know that under the previous dynamics, that Hamas was able to loot trucks and to steal material and to sell it and to use it and to weaponize it. But the decisions made, since now GHF has been able to get food in and to distribute it, yes, there have been some difficult circumstances, to say the least, because it's a war zone with a terrorist group. We recognize that. It's imperfect and it's difficult. But they've done it in a way that made it possible. I don't know what has made the others so vulnerable to theft and hijacking and everything else that has really only landed the food with Hamas. And we saw that with this weekend, and then a few weeks ago, another dynamic where trucks themselves, the entire truck was, multiple trucks were hijacked. So I don't know the entire UN plan or their decision-making process. What I do know is that GHF did it differently, and the different approach has worked.
But the result of this system is starvation, and everyone can see it. I mean, this is beyond any doubt now. And a bag of flour is costing $70. So the value of those commodities actually to Hamas or other groups that want to steal them has gone up under this system.
Well, look, we know, without needing to refer you to the Treasury Department, that supply and demand is an issue wherever you are. And of course, we're talking about this as though it's like a city in distress. It is an obscene result of obscene mass murder and madness. It is not a normal environment. It's not a human environment. It is placing, as I've said from the beginning, the first victims of this situation have been the people of Gaza. And it is time, and President Trump has pointedly made this declaration about his intentions, is that this is going to stop, and it requires new ideas. It doesn't, the old ideas maybe were well-meaning, and they kept doing it. It was always the same result. Maybe it's well-meaning. I can't speak to that. What everyone needs to recognize is that the current situation works, And yet there is still this bizarre resistance. And look, I'm here because...
By the way, if she says the current system works, there's been over 1,000 aid deaths. We've been covering this extensively. This is insane.
I love the country, as our diplomats. And there are other things that go on in the world when it comes to finances and, Hamas being able to use a dynamic like this for its own benefit. That's horrible. But what we know is that we had to get food to people in the meantime and then change the dynamic on the ground, and that's what we're doing.
This is a complete detachment from reality. It's insane. All right, let's get into... By the way, I'm sorry. I accidentally jumped in the chat. I lost a lot. There was a few good chats I saw in there I wanted to address. So I'm sorry. I think I saw something about somebody saying it was weird how Tim and them were on the same... I don't know. I accidentally jumped. I'm sorry. That's one of the bad things about... I don't know. Do you want to remind you guys, you can always give me money. So you can do a Rumble rant. So if I do lose, because that is something that happens sometimes, the chat jumps. It's hard to keep up with, especially when it's bustling, especially as this show grows. If you do want chats to get through, you may want to give me some money. So yeah, I do keep an eye on over on Rumble. I am demonetized on I'm having a fucking brain fart. On YouTube. I'm demonetized on YouTube, so you can't give me money there, but you can give money on Rumble. I think maybe one day, too. I think at some point, maybe when I hit 1,000 episodes of No Way Jose, I think I might split these up at some point and then just go back to No Way Jose. Maybe keep No Way Jose and Already Dead on one channel and then give it its own channel. That way maybe I can remonetize or something. But either way, for now, we have Rumble. So you can get money over in Rumble if you really want to make sure your chat gets through. Otherwise, it is what it is. It might get lost in the sauce sometimes. But let's get back to making fun of influencers and how they're perfectly falling in line, like the little shills that they are. Let's go ahead and watch Tim Dillon and fucking what's his face, Alex Jones. I couldn't think of his name. That was weird. So here you go. This is Tim Dillon admitting that it was J.D. Vance, that I guess took him out for dinner. Because I guess on his previous episode, which I had watched, I have not watched this Alex Jones one. I've just seen the clips here and there. I did watch the previous episode where he said that the whole episode was like, oh, I had a lunch or dinner or something with somebody, and they told me this and that. I'm not going to tell you who, but you might be able to figure it out. And then it was like, then for some reason, then the following episode, he had Alex Jones on, and it was like, it was J.D. Vance. So, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, maybe he got to go ahead and name drop him. I don't know. A lot of people saying Tim Dillon's been running cover. To be fair, I'll give him the slightest bit. Perhaps he is not. Maybe he's just reacting in some level of good faith. And he has couched all of this and just this is what they're telling me. And he's kind of been pretty... I mean, and to give him credit, I know a lot of us jumped on Tim, and to give him credit, he did, like I said, even from that first step, he goes, I met with someone. I'm not going to say who, which I get. I mean, I think maybe that was a matter of, I'm going to kind of see, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's just kind of protect. I mean, I'm at least throwing that out there. Maybe that was hey, I'm going to tell people. I'm not going to say it was you, but I'm going to throw it out there. Maybe that was the agreement, which I get that, because maybe he has some sort of personal relationship. I can understand that from a withholding, releasing information perspective, if somebody you do have some level of rapport, and especially something this serious that you would be okay, well, I'm going to tell my audience all about this. Maybe I won't give you their name, but you're probably, maybe even could have said you're going to have to at some point or this or that or whatever. Hell, he even in that episode even was I think you guys you probably be able to guess it. Almost as if he was I'm basically trying to give this away to you. It was almost just as if he's they just were, maybe JD was I don't know, I'd rather, maybe just see how it goes or something. And I think maybe once it got worse, it was yeah, I guess go ahead and attach my name to it maybe. So I don't know how that works specifically. I could understand, I could do the mental gymnastics and how that could be not necessarily disgusting. And the way he's presented it, he has been pretty forthcoming of hey, I had this meeting, this, that. Whereas there's been other influencers where it's they just seem like they had a meeting, and they may even make minor allusions to talking to someone or this or that, but they're kind of not really forthcoming, and they're just kind of very vague. Whereas Tim did kind of seemingly, at the very least, give the perception of putting it all on the table. So now I think most people then go, okay, well, you're having the dinner with the vice president to be given to essentially, because they're hey, essentially because they're running cover. So that's weird. But I mean, he's been honest about this stuff before with Teal. He's oh, I hung with Teal and then I stopped at some point because it got weird. And he even gave out what seemed to be some sort of information that was how likely this pipeline works. Tim's going about yeah, it got weird at some point. It's we had we'd have like get-togethers, and it'd be like, oh yeah, this one's why. It's like, why do we have topics for soirees? And it's like, oh, this is about media, and you're like, I don't know, this is getting weird, and I think I can kind of see what you're doing here. And that's when he said he backed off. It's like, this doesn't seem like just get-togethers and a nice little fun little like brunch or whatever. This seems like something else. So to give him the biggest out, I don't fucking know. I've only actually somewhat recently kind of somewhat got into his show, and I do find him funny and interesting, and I don't know, I do think perhaps there's a way to understand where Tim's coming from without being like he's a shill sellout. But it's looking a little rough. I'll be honest. It is one of those things where you're like, but he's riding a line right now. And I think he's doing a good job. And now I'll say I didn't watch this Alex Jones episode, and some of the clips I've seen, now this does give a little bit more of the like, a little bit like you're kind of helping uncover. But I don't know, you just could be good faith, just kind of like, I'm giving you an out. Like, I don't want to jump to the worst conclusions. I mean, he's not really hiding from the idea of like there are people who have these ideas. So I don't know. That's the way I understand it. This episode, the clips I've seen have become a little bit more in the realm of this does kind of feel like papering things over. But you can go ahead and see how he seats this revelation.
I just want to add, when Bondi said we have 10,000 hours of video, she said we have 10,000 hours of video. I had dinner last week with the vice president. He told me that was commercial pornography. They do not have videos of any powerful person in a compromising position. That's the party line that they're going with. If that's the case, why would Pam Bondi call it evident? I just want to...
So yeah, this is where he reveals Vance. Maybe we'll analyze this more. I think I might actually end up watching this on my own. I really just didn't want to because it's like, I don't know. I know when you had Alex Jones on, I kind of got the vibe, and it's like emergency podcast is what you call them. Like, but there was some interesting stuff revealed in there, and we'll probably maybe when I have more time and when maybe kind of more material to kind of hone in on it. Maybe we'll cover this tomorrow or later. But yeah, there was some interesting stuff so far as how things were seeded narrative-wise and stuff here. And so maybe we'll cover that later. But yes, it was revealed that Tim Dillon, that apparently was Vance. And I believe, Alex seemed to feed into that a lot. Also at the same time, we've got, right now, here's Chief Trumpster saying 550 MAGA influencers to be invited on an Israeli trip. This Israeli operation must be called out. Who got the call? This Israeli Foreign Ministry aims to bring 550 influencer delegations to Israel by the end of the year through such tours, it said. It says, while older Republicans and American conservatives still hold pro-Israel views, positive perspectives toward Israel are falling across all younger age groups, it said, according to the report. So keep an eye out. If your favorite little influencer seems like he's been visiting the wall, call it out, because just like Cassandra McDonald points out here, she says it is our duty to relentlessly shame them, and she is correct. And she is a base queen, which, by the way, for those who aren't aware who she is, that is the chick who actually got, she's the broad who booked me the times I went on Tim Pool or on IRL. So she's actually really fucking cool. I don't know how the fuck that happened, how she ended up as a booker. And I'll be honest, I felt a very strong change. There was a sea change, I guess, around that time. That was around the time that there was this weird, for anyone who pays attention to the inner politics of Tim Pool's universe, it was right around that time that she got fired as the booker. That like everyone else got, a bunch of other people got fired. It was kind of like a cleaning house. And I don't know. I noticed a sea change around there. So, don't get me wrong. Not like he was some fucking great warrior for freedom, liberty, and the American way or anything like that beforehand. But it was a marked sea change at that point in time, in my opinion. We also got people out here like Michael Tracy, still, seeming to want to parse out the difference between pedophilia and other such things. Here's his tweet. He says, which, by the way, thanks to Knife Safety Plus for shouting this out before the show. It says, I know everyone's supposed to go berserk if this question is ever asked, but when exactly did the diagnostic definition of pedophilia, sexual attraction to prepubescent children, become so detached from the definition most commonly used in political and cultural discourse? You know why? I don't know, because a lot of us have children and we don't really give a shit about parsing out the difference between 12, 14, 16. It's all pretty goddamn fucking evil to me. I'm perfectly comfortable calling it pedophilia. I don't know. I don't know why. It seems like, if anything, it's funny said, he's like, when exactly? I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me in the chat. I actually kind of do want some feedback on this. If anything, I actually feel like whatever this impression he's trying to give is actually the exact opposite. It's only, I feel like, in the past maybe 5 to 10 years that I've noticed the discourse or language around this perhaps start to shift. Maybe not around common people, but at least among these, maybe like the Michael Tracy circles or whatever, where the language started becoming far more pederast as opposed to pedophile, where they started making the distinction. So if anything, like I've personally myself, I've actually noticed the opposite in the past decade or so, with an increase in usage of parsing out, or an increase in parsing out the difference between something like being specific in language between pedophilia and like pederasty or something like that. So in a certain way, I mean, I get it. In a certain sense, there's a technical difference, but this idea that we really need to parse out the difference, no, I really don't. I don't need to. I'm perfectly comfortable with calling it all the same thing. It's frankly evil, and it's a good catch-all term. And this idea that I have to go, pederasty, and then, what's pederasty? This is post-pubescent children. This is young teens. As if that's okay. Like, I mean, I get it. They're like, Michael Tracy would say, well, I'm in no way implying this by pointing this out. I'm just saying the technical definition. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I get that. But it's just like, why are we even having this discussion? Who fucking cares? Like, I don't know. This is like, ironically, it comes to mind like I remember when I went on Tim Pool, and one of the things of the day was like, oh, it's Vivek, not Vivek. And I think I even said in the show, like, I don't care. Because I think at that point, Vivek had even said, like, I don't care. Like, who cares? He doesn't care. Like, everyone else feels comfortable saying Vivek. Why are we parsing out the difference? Like, if anything, people feel comfortable. Vivek rolls off the tongue better for me. I mean, he doesn't seem to be bothered by it. I don't have a personal relationship with the guy. Seems to be what most people are using. Who fucking cares? Like, who cares? Who cares? Because it became this, like, almost stupid thing where it was this right-wing talking point where they'd be like, almost like, how disrespectful of him to say Vivek instead of Vivek. And they're like, who fucking cares? He doesn't care. Why do you care? And this is another example. But this is even worse, where it's like, okay, but the crux here is pedophilia. So okay, sure, it is like technically there's no like connection from dot to dot, but it gets me weirded out when you're like, why are we like? I mean, sure, I guess you could say, oh, there is no why. We just are. We're just kind of musing to myself how odd it is that I don't know, people use pedophile when they mean pederast. You're like, I don't know, that seems to be pretty common parlance for the past, as far as I've ever remembered. If anything, it seems to be weird that you're saying that it wasn't. So, I don't know. This seems very bizarre to me. I mean, it's kind of one of these things that's almost like these J tricks where like, well, technically, I mean, like, oh, I'm not really doing this. And you're like, okay, well, like, why are we here trying to argue? I don't know. I mean, I guess to be fair, I guess it's like, I'm also not the same guy that'll get like upset when I see like someone for some reason get into like an age of consent argument, because it's like, I know we should be able to have discussions. But at certain points, it's like, I don't know. This is probably the best example I can think of. Why? What difference does it make? Like, why? I mean, sure, I will give you that it is more evil to suck away the innocence out of a, prepubescent person as opposed to a postpubescent. But it's all on a scale. It's all like, I'm sorry, that's not going to keep me from, putting lead into someone's head if this comes across as an issue for my children. I don't give a shit. They're like, well, I don't know if you realize this, but this was pederasty. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't give a fuck. You're dead. So, in Minecraft, just for the YouTube censors, although I think that should be good for the YouTube censors. I mean, there was a very clear if-then, so yeah. There's another thing I wanted to add. I thought this was interesting. One of you guys shared this to me, old Rage Child, appreciate it, buddy. On the Nelka Boy things, I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Apparently, Aaron Steinberg, which is tiny, I guess he's one of the Nelka Boys. His dad is Harvey Steinberg. He's also the lawyer for Asher Carney, who was an Israeli nuclear weapons smuggler. So that's pretty interesting. And these are the guys who nabbed Netanyahu. So, yeah. Oh, on the side of things of these this WWE game that we play and keeping track of where things are at. Here is Dan Bongino posting about, I don't know, something Chen Wang Gong, something about, I don't know, whatever. Maybe we can come back to this later. I don't even really care. Chinese citizen admits stealing U.S. trade secrets for next generation. Oh, some like common low, like meat for the base. Like, oh, dude, this is like MAGA boomers, eat this shit up. I have this no comment on the truth, the veracity. I have no idea. Chinese citizen admits stealing U.S. trade secrets for next generation national security tech. Bongino has some tweet about it. I don't even care about what the fuck he's talking about here. I could scroll through it. He's not. The key thing here is this motherfucker, Dan Bongino. I don't know if you guys remember. This guy exists. This retarded gorilla is a human being. He's a deputy director of the FBI. Did you guys remember that? He's the deputy. He's been gone for. Let's see. What do we got here? This was today, an hour ago. He posted this. Last time he posted was July 9th. That was 2 weeks ago. You guys remember what happened? Oh, he stormed out. He's just gone. This whole like gay WWE behind the scenes, and just moving on. We're just pretending like nothing happened here. Just continuing on, business as usual. We're just pretend that didn't even happen. Here's Mike Johnson. Let's see what he has to say. He had a little bit more. I think we covered this maybe a little bit about what he had to say yesterday, but I guess here's him more opining about Thomas Massie. Give me a second. Doing the thing again. My bad. God, I hate StreamYard so much. They need to get their shit together. 1 second. Here you go. All right, let's go and play it now.
So as the leader of my party, I lead the incumbent protection program. Okay, that's my job. I go all around the country. I travel endlessly, incessantly. I have to raise over $300 million to do that, and we want everybody to come back. And some people, I try to protect them from themselves. They kick and scream and bite their own colleagues. Some people seem to enjoy and trying to inflict pain on their own teammates. I'm not going to address anybody individually, but I'll tell you that some here are much more frustrating than others. There's a small, tiny handful, but one in particular who's given me lots of consternation. I don't understand. I don't understand Thomas Massie's motivation. I really don't. I don't know how his mind works. I don't know what he's thinking. Thomas Massie could have brought his discharge petition any time over the last 4.5 years. Over the last 4 years of the Biden administration, he could have done that at any time. And now he's clamoring as if there's some sort of timeline on it. It's interesting to me that he chose the election of President Trump to bring this, to team up with the Democrats and bring this discharge petition. So do I have some concern about that? I do. But in me and my way, I try to follow Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment, never speak evil of another Republican. My gosh, it's hard to do sometimes around here. I also try to follow the scripture, it's bless those who persecute you. So let me just say about Thomas Massie, could you just accept my Southern bless his heart? Okay, I don't know what else to say about it. We're for maximum transparency. We're engaged in that.
We're for maximum transparency, but shut the fuck up and get back on message and get with the team. Like, this is stupid. It's just dumb, transparent nonsense. Here's Derek backing me up. Says never heard pederast until recently. See, yeah, exactly. So No Hablo says don't care about the verbiage. We all know what you're driving at with the word pedophilia, and they all deserve to be ran through a wood chipper. Says anyone concerned with the number of the age and not the maturity is sus at minimum. If you're 40 banging 18-year-olds, I'm still going to check that hard drive, buddy. Says people call it great PDF to avoid Big Brother. Ridiculous. Yeah. Pederasty is gay. Says Hustle Bones. Says there's no objective standard for good and evil. If there's no God, it's all personal preferences. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I've heard people try to make arguments for like objective morality and stuff, and I've always felt those failed. They were pretty ridiculous. Like I think Sam Harris attempted. I think Molyneux attempted as well. They always came off as ham-fisted nonsense to me. It really, you just kind of got to come to terms with the fact of you might live in a subjective world, and that doesn't necessarily mean there's better and there's worse. And so I think, I don't know, I think people looking for an objective standard or objective, I guess it depends on you means by like what, like, I guess you can develop an objective, it depends on what you think or morals are, or good and evil, or like to develop an objective. Like, I guess kind of way I look at it is the kind of what's the best way we can kind of interact and all kind of get along. And what's the best way to go about doing that? And I feel like it's fairly objective in most cases. You can kind of be like, there's a pretty consistent. Hoppe is probably a pretty good way to conceptualize it from like a high time preference, low time preference, and maybe a good way to look at it. Because I think good morality is actually really low time preference behavior, and that's like a good thing personally. I think it's like super low time preference behavior. So I think that might be a way to understand it from a different perspective. But yeah, I do think if you are going to be someone arguing or saying I don't believe in a God or whatever, I mean, you got to be open to the idea. If you want to have any sort of consistent, I don't know, how do I say it, moral or understanding or philosophical understanding, you do kind of have to just come to terms with. You're gonna have to find a way to understand they're not being objective, and I also think it is silly to then go from that and be like, well, then that means you're cool with all sorts of evil, crazy things. Like, no, I mean, I can make I think a pretty logical argument for why all the things I just spent talking about for the last, I don't know, hour or so are fucking awful, and you shouldn't be things you're allowed to happen. So. Pedophilia or pederasty or whatever else you want to call is just kill him, save the distinctions for psychologists. Do as thou wilt, thou shall be, that shall be the whole of the law, says Comment Mama. Yeah, that's like the high time preference, like atheistic perspective, in my opinion. I mean, like in a certain sense, like you can also do as thou will, but not will evil. So it's like, so that there is almost like a, what does that mean? It kind of depends on the person. I forgot where I was going with that one. I had a point. It's totally slipped my mind. Anyways, I need to stop fucking rambling about these chats. You guys got me on interesting little philosophical side tangents and stuff. Let's keep going. I need to get moving so I at least can cover the main topics. I do need to get out of here in like 20 minutes. So. Good morning, Marty Fly says, I hate Crowley so much that I also hate his simps like Jimmy Page. Led Zeppelin can eat dicks, he says. Let me see. Someone said, anyone heard from Jeff today? Yeah, he's actually been pretty quiet. I haven't heard any screams from Jeff. He's actually one of the guys that has hair. He's actually 3/4 Sphinx, though. So he was an outcross we did. Yeah, you guys seem to all agree that the pederasty seems to be a new thing, and you don't really like the distinction either. All right, let's get into this. This is something we talked about last night on Already Dead. This is something I want to do a little bit of a dive with you guys. I thought it was interesting. This is about Rachel Chandler, who is Rachel Chandler is, I guess, one of Epstein's connections into the fashion world, and that's what we're going to go over together. Austin covered this a lot, but he covered it and this isn't, don't get me wrong, no shade at Austin. He just covered the way Austin did, threading together a bunch of things, so obviously we didn't give it its due individual diligence, so that's what a show like this is great for. So here we are, we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into one of the little nodes of essentially the thread of thought that Austin put together last night, and then one of those being Rachel Chandler and her ties to Jeffrey Epstein. This is from Evie magazine, so take it with that, whatever degree you give credence to that magazine, I guess. So Rachel Ray Chandler, a photographer and co-founder of the Midland Agency, is known for avant-garde approach to casting in the fashion industry, which avant-garde, I feel like almost always when you hear it means like evil or weird sex stuff with elites usually. However, it's her alleged connections to Epstein in the dark world of elite networking that draw intense scrutiny. Chandler's involvement extended to MC2 Model Management, co-founded by John-Luc Brunel, who himself was implicated as an Epstein co-conspirator and later met a mysterious end similar to Epstein's death in a prison cell ruled as suicide. Now, John-Luc Brunel, obviously there's a picture of him. We've talked about him quite a bit. I don't think we've really done a decent, we haven't really dug into him. Maybe we should do later, maybe some sort of highlight into specifically him. But he was obviously one of the nodes of Epstein's system. He's probably more of his like foreign model component of it. So let's keep going. Chandler's professional engagements also included curating the lineup for Demna Gvasilia's, man, what a fucking weird name, fall/winter show for Balenciaga in 2016, where she boasted of her role in suggesting models who were all accepted by the brand, hinting at her influential position in the industry. Now, additionally, Balenciaga's involvement in disturbing imagery, particularly involving children, has also been a topic of significant concern. The fashion brand has faced backlash for advertising campaigns for using inappropriate themes and props that could be interpreted as referencing child abuse. So keep in mind, this is a bitch who essentially is like kind of behind the scenes organizing Balenciaga photo shoots with models and such. And she's also essentially was directly working. She was a model scout for, I think, John-Luc. No, actually, what was she for? What exactly did she do for John-Luc? No, she was involved with that model management company. Let me try to see the specific engagement. Anyways, well, maybe it'll become more clear, but she's somehow specifically involved with Jean-Luc Brunel's modeling agency as well. So these connections are a little bit rough. No, I thought it was my wife coming out. It's the other kiddo. Man, kiddos are up earlier than normal. They've been sleeping until like 1 this summer. Additionally, Balenciaga's involvement in disturbing imagery, particularly involving children. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm about to take her in like 50 minutes. That's why I need to rush through this. So we may actually have to cut the last topic for tomorrow. Talk a little bit about Ghislaine and some of the stuff going on there. Although we kind of covered that a little bit yesterday and on Ari Dad and I think in the morning show. But we'll come back to, I think, some of that. We're probably going to have to cut that. Anyways, additionally, Balenciaga's involvement in disturbing imagery, particularly involving children, has also been a topic of significant concern. I think I already read that. Fashion brand has faced backlash for advertising campaigns. Yeah, we already read that. Here's one of the pictures. So they put a book. This is the one that they put a book in the photo shoot by Michael Borman's Fire from the Sun. The cover has naked children playing on it. Side is more disturbing, naked drawings of children playing with dismembered body parts along with dark rituals. So this is like the book that's on there, like it's just like, and there's been all sorts of, you see these sort of Balenciaga stuff all the time where it's like, it's more than just like Twitter schizos. You're like, this is insanely on the nose. And I think it'll probably maybe go into a little bit more of these, like the teddy bear one they're about to show. The intersection of these controversies with Chandler's alleged connections to a sex trafficking ring casts a shadow over the fashion industry's practices and the hidden dynamics within. So let's be real. I think this is probably just all international trafficking. Says, I thought people were trolling, or this is here's a tweet from someone says, I thought people were trolling, but nope, it's real. Maybe this is why Balenciaga left Twitter. They don't want to be held accountable. Yes, these are children holding teddy bears dressed in bondage outfits. So these are, and then I know there's a lot of people even then, broke down some of the specific components in these photo shoots and some of the weird symbolism where it's like really on the nose. Because I mean, let's be real, these things are all neatly organized. It's almost like every little component is like, let's be real, probably purposely put there. It is purposely put there. Chandler's old social media has created further suspicion. Images on her accounts and her agency's public profiles, which use young individuals to create disturbing imagery that seems indicative of abuse and exploitation. Her Instagram and Tumblr showcase deeply troubling images, children depicted in acts of a satanic ritual, bloodied and seemingly tortured figures, and mannequins dressed in black robes typical of satanic garb. So this is Chandler's. This is the chick that worked for Brunel, also with the connections to Balenciaga. And she also has weird connections to Epstein, which I think we'll get into later. So this is Instagram photos. I'm not going to watch it because I don't know how rough these get. I mean, the first one, it literally says molested no. It's a little napkin. Actually, you know what? I almost kind of want to look at it to see. Well, I'm just worried there might be like like nudity or something, and I don't want that showing up on the, let me see. Let me look at it real quick in a different tab, make sure there's nothing crazy. It's on Instagram, actually, so it can't be too crazy. Let's actually watch this, now I think about it, because it is, no, it's on X. No, let's play it. It's on Instagram, so it can't be nudity. So this is our Instagram we're looking at. It's just kind of creepy. A lot of weird, like, kid. Okay, yeah, I'm not liking this. Yeah, not looking good. Not a good conglomeration of, yeah, man, not good. Not good, man, not good. Holy shit, not good. Okay, now this right here, I mean, people have referenced this. These are the cameras apparently in Epstein's estate. Red shoes. Holy shit. That's dark. I mean, I'm sorry for the audio people. They really do need to see this stuff. Here's Bill Clinton with Rachel Chandler when she was 15. Here's her with Eminem at 17. Who is that? Richard Gere. Oh, geez, literally. Oh, no, that's not from her thing. This is some schizo shit. No, that's from her Instagram. The hell? Oh yeah, this woman's literally a demon. Oh my God. Here's an Instagram photo of on her thing of looks like a kid about to stab another kid on a pentagram, literally drawn out. What the fuck? This is what they mean when they say avant-garde, is the creepy thing. Well, I'm deeply disturbed. All right. Well, that is awful. God awful. All right. One particularly alarming image purportedly from CCTV footage suggests connections to Epstein's infamous pedophile island, Little St. James, with some online researchers suggesting it depicted acts of cannibalism. Another disturbing photo featured Chandler in a stage struggle with a visibly distressed young woman, her arms bound on a beach. Moreover, photographer Chandler with Bill Clinton aboard a private jet links her directly to Epstein's circle, considering Clinton's own documented travel on Epstein's so-called Lolita Express. Some allege that she was involved in trafficking children for Jeffrey Epstein, a known associate of Hillary and Bill Clinton. These claims gain a disturbing dimension when the assertion that the models represented by her agency, many of whom appeared in Midland's Instagram page, looked abused and resembled trafficking victims more than models. So Chandler has been linked to Sean Diddy Combs through a photograph taken when she was 14, featuring both individuals. This connection has fueled further speculation since Combs has become embroiled in Epstein-esque allegations. The broader issue surrounding Chandler and figures like her involves the lack of thorough investigation into Epstein's network following his arrest and subsequent death. Despite the high-profile nature of Epstein's crimes, many connected to him, like Chandler, have faced minimal scrutiny from the mainstream media and law enforcement. This lack of action fuels public distrust, with many believing that Epstein's dealings and the people connected to him were conveniently swept under the rug to protect powerful interests. The case of Rachel Chandler challenges the public and the media to confront their biases toward dismissing uncomfortable allegations as conspiracies. Certain circles of wealthy and powerful people are likely being shielded from closer scrutiny, allowing potentially heinous activities to cure unchecked. This is not just about one woman or alleged actions. It's about a systemic rot that should be exposed. It's a pretty good article from Evie. So interesting stuff. This broad is definitely another one of these people who should probably be brought in and talked to. Let me see. I'm going to look through. Let's run through a couple more things real quick before I bounce. Let me see. This one is hilarious. I want to show you guys this one. This one I can cover real quick. Apparently, J.D. Vance was greeted by protesters, which I don't even know if those are protesters. I mean, I guess maybe. I mean, it's just so damn hilarious. Apparently, look, literally, you guys could see it. They literally did the JD meme. So I don't know. It's just kind of funny. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think JD is probably some sort of Trojan horse, but I can't help but admit this is hilarious. Like, can you imagine being with your wife and leaving your dinner and then oh yeah, there's me as a fat, bald, goofy meme. I don't know. Just hilarious. So this is a protest going on there. All right, that one. This one someone mentioned earlier. This is more. This is obviously a little bit more serious. Apparently, Jeffrey Epstein's attorney, Roy Black, has died. Let's see. Maybe we can see in the comments if there was anything in the specifically how. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out more when stuff comes up. Maybe more will come up. 80 years old. So he was 80. He died on July 21st. So another person who died. This is 2 days ago. He's the one who negotiated. He was part of the 2008 agreement. So he's part of that legal team, so that's significant. Reports indicate that he'd been battling unspecified illness. I mean, he's 80, though. So, though no details on the nature of his illness or any prior health complications are publicly available. So he's 80 years old, so it's not that crazy. I mean, even if it was, completely organic, though, it is a bummer because this is a guy that worked in that sweetheart deal. So he is someone who they'd probably want to bring in soon. So yeah. All right. I think we're going to get out of here. I did have stuff. I thought about maybe we should cover some of the Ghislaine stuff, but I don't want to rush that. So we'll probably talk about that tomorrow. Also, maybe we'll have a guest tomorrow. I did hit up Dave again to see if he's available. So we'll see. But with that, let's roll with the chat real quick, see what you guys got to say, and then we'll go ahead and get on out of here. Let's see. Hustle says pederasty is not a new thing at all. Well, I don't know what you mean by there, Hustle. I'm not saying it was new. I'm just more meaning new in the sense of people making specifying it. I don't know. I mean, just the idea of like, I feel like we used to just go, oh, that's just pedophilia. I mean, I will say there is a thing where like, I do feel like in ages past, people did turn more of a blind eye or even more accepting of things like 16, 17-year-old, like in an adult type situation. But even then, like, I don't remember people ever like hedging that with like, oh, well, no, that's pederasty. They would just be like, she's like 16, 17. I mean, I still think it's gross. That's weird. I don't like it. And that's awful. And you line up against the wall all the same. But it is I mean, I don't even think they were even really trying. At least I don't recall that being like a sticking point or anyone being like, well, that's pederasty. Like, even the people who were like, you're 16, 17, no big deal. It's like, even then they were like, oh, well, that's pederasty. They're just like, that's not real. They'd be like, well, that's not really bad. Like, I may disagree with it, obviously, but yeah. And my point being is it's almost the sanitized language about it. Even then, it was almost just like swirling around. So, scrolling through, seeing what else you guys say. Jose, you have no idea about the avant-garde. Unfortunately, I found out a little bit about the idea of the avant-garde just a minute ago. All right, let's see what else you guys say. Man, you guys are chit-chatty today. I mean, I could just, all the stuff you guys are throwing around the chat, I could sit here and go on all sorts of tangents, but I got to get out of here. Seems like the times I have to leave, and you guys are really making my brain a bubble in the chat. And also saying I'm saying the term has been used forever. Pederasty is not accurate for what's happening here. That's ephebophilia. Okay, all right, well, I don't recall it being used, so I'll take your word for it. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. That's why I was asking you guys. It's kind of one of those like almost like polling things. Like, I mean, we're all probably from different areas and stuff to use different language, so just kind of want to get a vibe. All right, guys, I think we're going to forego an outro today just because I am in a rush and I'm taking too long. But with that, guys, let's go ahead and get on out of here. I love you all. Make sure if you do like what I'm doing over here, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Follow me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. If you want to support the show directly, you can do that over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020 with money. I like money. That helps out the show a lot. The lowest level is $2. That's where you get access to early episodes. I do about 1 to 2 of those a week these days, and usually keep about 4 or so behind the paywall any given time. So that's weeks of paywall content. You also get an ad-free RSS feed, and you get access to the what's it called? Telegram. I don't know why that slipped my mind. What that app's called? Telegram. You also get access to the pre-show and priority for the Collins. Me and Austin's weekly live Collins show. Also, give a big shout out to my sponsors, my Patreon sponsors, the highest level, because I love them, and I give a big shout out to them. I appreciate the support, and a lot of you guys have stuck around me for a long time. And my co-host, my former co-host on Tower Gang, at Learner Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at ZOVRACK, at _Infant Zeal, Tim Tuttle, at Jolly Klebold, Will Bell's Delicious Blueberry Rabbit Eye Wine, Big Fan of the Show, Torn May, at Wayne Taculus, Jordan Peterson. And with that, guys, we're out of here. I love you all. Deuces. Bye-bye. 20 chances. Great work as usual. Thank you. We'll see you all tomorrow. Should be... Yeah, it's funny. Someone's the cat's watching closely. I didn't even see it. Yeah, if you look behind me, you see the cat. He's literally laying on the printer behind me. That's funny. All right, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow around 11 a.m. And with that, we are out. Bye-bye.